Oh, there. I'll tell you in private chat. Hey, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube. We also have a new Patreon.
That's
was
probably
just-
by the way.
I literally just sent that message to you.
By the way,
Yeah,
that's probably. I think that's probably what kind of made my computer freeze up. Is because I had
What
the
happened?
YouTube thing open. I had YouTube open and this, and so I had like too many tabs open at once, and so
Yeah.
it kind of overtaxed everything.
They
So-
recommend that you do not have this tab open and the YouTube chat open because it drains
Yeah.
your systems. Yes.
Yeah, so it kind of so I had to so I was like,
Well, what I
great.
usually do on
Yeah.
mine is I have this one open, and then I don't have it on the same screen, the YouTube.
Mhm. Yeah,
I do a whole different window for the YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
And
Let me,
that way,
Let me close this.
And
My
in
tab's
fact,
ready for
what
So Flo, what's up?
yeah. So
We can wait till a few more come in.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, can you share it on Facebook and Discord?
yeah, give me a second.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get another.
You guys get your Christmas shopping done?
I've got
yeah,
one gift that I've got to get. Gabby's stuff's been done for weeks.
Did you get her any Spider-Man stuff?
Not this year. She's just so into there was some specific things that she asked for. She asked for a Baby Alive doll, and
Oh, is that
But-
the one that pees?
the one that poops. And yeah,
Oh, it poops now.
It poops, and
Oh,
it
shit,
has a high
man.
chair and
Oh
all
my
that
gosh.
stuff. And so she wanted the one with the.
Do you fill it up with water? I mean, how's it?
I don't know how this is gonna work. I'm basically like giving this to my daughter so that way my ex-wife has to deal with the repercussions.
That's fine.
So
Jared, Jared, can you tilt your camera down a little bit so I got less headroom, if you don't mind? There we go. Nice, nice, perfect.
all right, so let me get.
Mike, also, is there a setting on your camera to do 16:9? Yours is
no,
4 by
there's
3.
not.
Okay.
Nope. That's one thing I
You got
probably
you got an
should-
old, you got an old
Methu-
cam, I think.
I think that's a good thing. That probably a good potential.
Methuselah
Christmas
was
gift
a
I should
small
probably get
child
some
when he
time
bought
at
his cam.
some point.
You what was I going to? You would see more of you if you were 16:9. But
Yeah, no, yeah. I for some reason I know when it started out, it actually kind of used to widen it or something automatically, but it didn't. For some reason, I don't know. What
I can
happened
do
with it.
this, but we all look funky. No,
Funky.
what
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Is it that? No, I guess I can't do that.
No, it's only with 3 there, Douglas.
Yep.
3.
Hey, I got to stand out from the crowd somehow, right?
You do. So Flo, hello everyone. Sarah, tell them who wrapped it all. Hearing, hey y'all. Bob
Yeah.
Jones.
Sarah wrapped all my gifts this year
That's
Aw.
because I am the world's worst gift wrapper. Like,
dude, men made gift bags. I'll tell you right now. Bob Jones has been listening to us since 2011.
Ooh.
So Bob, thank you for listening all these years.
Mm-hmm.
JR, you ready? You ready to go? You know what? I
guess I am.
haven't
Hang
seen
on.
if we got any iTunes reviews. Let me pull up iTunes.
Yeah,
real quick.
go check our iTunes reviews because I'm still trying to get my Facebook to cooperate.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that we're putting on. Who's scratching? Somebody's scratching their mics. Oh, shocking! iTunes wants to give me an update. Every time I launch that program, my goodness,
Yeah, that's. I got one of those like the other day. I didn't even,
I get them every day.
Yeah,
Well, that I guess now because they're
Nope,
trying
no
to
new iTunes
because they're
reviews.
trying to convert everybody over to it's like saying, hey, Windows 10, goodbye Windows 7. So
hmm
yeah.
well, I
We
mean,
haven't had a new iTunes review since September 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a good one. I seem to recall.
All right.
Let me
Alright.
pull up my email. I get
Yeah, you get the. Don't you have that
the
one thing?
Chartable. Let me pull up Chartable if we got any worldwide
Mm-hmm.
worldwide iTunes reviews. I haven't checked that in a few. Let's see here. Welcome to Chartable reviews. Here we go. Has anybody from around the world written us a review? None.
Ba-bum, ba-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Why is all of a sudden I started seeing Felice Navidad when we think around the world, but it's like there's more than just
Nope, we haven't had any from around the world since September 20th. We got United States, Canada,
mm-hmm.
US. So if you're listening from around the world, which I know you are, Please write us an iTunes review. We'd appreciate it. Okay, Quill Sniver.
Quilsnip.
Here, happy
That would be-
holidays, y'all.
That
Oh,
would
that would be
Neil.
Neil's buddy. Neil's buddy. Yep.
Oh, Neil's buddy. Okay,
No.
Giorno Giovanna.
Quill Sniv is Neil.
Got it. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, we got it up on the Discord and the Facebooks.
I'm posting it on the
Cool.
Facebook now.
Very good. JR, pull your shirt down. Let me see that logo.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
That escalated very quickly.
Who knew all these years later, JR, I'd be giving you wardrobe advice when we broadcast.
Well, that was back in those days where you basically
We had a phone line, 2 tin cans.
Oh
So
yeah, were you guys
Flo
using
says-
dial-up too? That would be good.
No, we weren't using that.
I was
This is
gonna
the only
say.
channel that talks Spider-Man. The rest of YouTube is DC crap. All right, so Flo.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Man.
Well, yeah, because you look at the state of their movies. Well, no, actually, I take that back because their movie
right now it's the television because Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was like
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Did you guys
Which
didn't
is
watch it?
kinda-
Did anybody watch it?
Yeah, Spencer wanted to watch it. So we watched
It's
it.
Was it good or
okay.
bad?
It's
There was-
okay, but you
Okay.
can kind of tell that they were under budget. They have budget constraints.
oh yeah,
And there were
but
certain
like,
things about that I did not. There was the second episode with what they did to what they did to Batman, or rather an
yeah,
alternate version. I just like flipped my lid. what they did
Did,
with,
did
Kevin
Tom Welling
Conroy.
do anything else with Smallville besides the little clip I saw on YouTube?
Actually, the Smallville clip was pretty good. I mean, that was
Did he do
about
anything
it.
else besides get his
No.
toys stepped on and
no,
Nope,
walk off with Lois? Okay.
nope.
no,
That was kind of the code.
That,
for
look,
Smallville.
they brought in Knox from the first Batman.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I saw
You
that.
know, that was awesome.
They were also brought in Robin from the '66.
Yeah,
Batman.
well, we had known about Burt Ward. Nobody knew about Knox. Nobody knew about.
No.
Mhm.
There have been rumors about Lucifer, and like the guy that played Lucifer.
Oh yeah.
Had done a really good job saying, "Oh, I was just in town. I can't go to town to go visit some friends." And so
Mhm.
basically, they're like, "Oh, he's not going to be on the show." And then Bowie shows up in the episode.
Well,
The
he
cameos
is-
were fun.
Yeah.
But-
The guy was playing the devil, so
Yeah,
there you go. Right.
You're not supposed to
But-
take anything he says for face value. I mean, he's
Exactly.
But-
Um,
I've enjoyed the crossover. I've had a couple of problems with it. The Kevin Conroy Batman I thought was a really interesting take.
it was, yeah. But
Um,
it's just the fact that they got him on there and you have him play that version.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was like, couldn't you do
a
something little
homicidal
bit-
version of Batman.
Yeah.
But you know, I
So Flo, y'all proved me wrong. You're talking DC.
You brought it up, Silvo. That's the thing.
but
That's funny.
at the same time, like it's a fun crossover.
Mhm.
If you're a fan of the Arrowverse, I mean, then if you're a fan of things like '90s Flash and stuff like that,
Oh yeah.
really, really a lot of fun.
Mhm.
I've watched the Arrowverse virtually from the beginning. I'm not a big fan of like Supergirl and Batwoman are both kind of irritating me greatly.
Mhm.
In
Samuel,
general,
bro, what up with you, sir?
and
They-
so
Jared, did you
They-
like it?
No.
No, you didn't.
Hmm.
Okay.
They did
No,
bring
I mean,
Black
it's
Lightning
like
on
the-
there, so that was plus.
The most interesting, it's like the most interesting story. They do things like with the Kevin Conroy Batman and then Brandon Ruth doing the Kingdom Come Superman.
oh, he was awesome.
Yeah, he was
You just-
really
it-
good at that. Yeah.
It's like you feel that more interesting stories aren't being told. It's
Mhm.
almost like, you're sitting there watching it and these guys show up in their particular arcs. And it's like, no, wait a minute. No, I want to watch their stories.
Yeah.
I want to watch, I want to see what's going on in their
Oh,
worlds. I don't give a crap.
Brandon.
Brandon
Yeah,
Routh
Brandon Ruth
basically
is-
proved with this particular storyline that he was not the problem with Superman Returns.
Oh no,
No.
not at all. Because
That's
Brandon
cool,
Ruth makes
though.
a much better Superman in this crossover than the guy who's they put.
And I
to play
like the guy
Superman.
I
and-
like the guy that's played Superman in the Supergirl series, but like
Yeah.
Brandon Routh is like basically Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yeah. Especially if you put him side by side and you see how Brandon Ruth is basically kind of bulked up, and then this other guy.
He's in.
Tyler,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. For the record, though, I think he was in a muzzle suit. For the
Yeah, well, it's a pretty good muscle suit if whoever they put him in, because it's just like because.
Let's get going. What do you think?
All right,
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
stop
we
talking about DC. Let's
we
start
got-
talking
we
about
got
Amazing
11
Spider-Man.
viewers.
let's
at the
go back
moment.
to Marvel or
It's true. Okay, coming down 3-2. Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our amazing Spider-Man comic review. We've got 3 issues this month. Before we get there, we're going to introduce the panel. Spidey Dude, Zach, what's going on, sir?
Hey! I didn't think I was going to have enough of a voice to be here this particular
It
episode.
sounds pretty good. It's coming
And
back.
I don't sound like Barry White like I did at the beginning of the last episode.
That's true. We have JR. What's going on, JR?
Well, you guys took me away from all those wonderful Christmas gifts that I received during the Christmas podcast. So, I can't wait to get back to them and enjoy them.
I'm looking behind you. I don't see the $200,000 John Romita original art that we bought you. Hanging out somewhere.
It's right here.
Oh, yeah.
I just haven't put it up.
He's
And
looking
you
for
didn't get
a
it.
frame.
Spidey Dude got it for me.
Yeah, he's looking for a frame for it, and he's also looking for a place to put his both his goblin mask and his goblin head that was like a lamp.
And his goblin tears that I bought him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So-
and the little cap. I've got
And the
one of
little goblin cap.
And the sculpted mask. We said that.
Nice. And Mike, how are those pancakes? Those Spider-Man pancakes I bought you.
Oh, they're quite delish. And in case some folks are wondering, it says to quote a certain a certain line from a certain Christmas movie known as Gremlins. I'm still on the air.
It's Gremlins.
But,
No, it was-
hey, Nolte,
that
are you
Rockin' Mike, wasn't it?
No,
Rock-
Rockin' Ricky.
Rockin' Ricky. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and are you enjoying your web shooters there?
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Flip, flip, flip.
All right, so we're going back to 2099, but it's really we're not.
Marty, we're going back to the future.
Marty, it's your kid.
Which, how far away is
So-
299 now? Good.
80
grief.
years.
I don't
80
know.
years.
But the first issue that we're reviewing is Amazing Spider-Man number 34. Modern numbers. Legacy is 835. We've got a good-looking Doctor Doom with Miguel and Peter on the cover. 2099
Doom
is
has
in
no-
trouble again.
Dr. Doom has no chill, folks.
JR, take me through this one, please.
Well, the issue opens once again as we're trying as Spider-Man here is being used as just a plot device in order to kickstart another 2099 ongoing line, which has failed more than once before. But we just keep doing it, and we keep interrupting what was going on in the regular Spider-Man titles for this. But nonetheless, here we are. So at this particular
JR's a
time,
grouchy old man again.
at this particular time, Miguel is I'd sue you, Zach, but I can't sue for definition of character, I guess.
Sure.
So anyway, Miguel's tottering around in 2099, and he's looking around and everything looks like an LSD fever dream, and it's like, oh Lord, the world's
best
coming
type
to
of
an
dream.
end. And and then all of a sudden he sees Doom 2099, which have they ever said who Doom 29 really was? Is it really Dr. Doom, or is it something?
I don't know.
It's kind of complicated. I think Doom 2099 is I'm not sure if he was necessarily a Doombot or a clone of the original Doctor Doom.
When did
Who
that get
basic-
explained?
I have no idea. It's been years since I figured
Is that when
out.
they all went to the island because everybody
Well,
got flooded?
because this Doom was basically kind of like he got, I guess it was supposed to be in cryogenic freeze or something like that or whatever. I think that's what the deal was, like because he had all the memories of Doctor Doom, but there was a kind of
He
a
did.
question: is he a Doombot or is he a clone or what have you or something like that?
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially it was one of those things where it's like, oh, I got to retake back Latveria or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. It's been so long, and his whole history is so convoluted about in terms of is he the real Doom and blah 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 and all that stuff. It's like and there was a time where he like takes over America or something, becomes president of the 2099 universe, I think.
There's your
Yeah.
answer, JR. We don't know.
it's been so long. It's been so many retcons. We don't really know at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean that's one of the aggravating things about seeing 2099 continue to pop up, because there's all these continued unanswered questions and threads, and I mean I thought the 2099 world was destroyed years ago, or flooded, and everybody went to the Savage Land, and then
Manifest
Miguel
destiny.
O'Hara. Yeah, Miguel O'Hara picked up Thor's hammer and ushered in Utopia or something. So
Yep.
anyway, but I guess we're not there yet. So anyway, so Miguel comes across Doom 2099, and of course his first assumption is that Doom 29 is causing this LSD dream. And then Doom says, no, I'm not doing it. You know, boy, I wish I could do something about it, but I can't. But you can. Okay. All right. So then, Miguel is in the process of being chased by some purple, green, drooling Hulk-like monsters.
Kind of looks like the Sandman.
And are after him. What's that?
Kind of looks like Sandman for some reason.
Yeah, and then we immediately then all of a sudden we zoomed to 2019, where Peter Parker is hanging around one of his boring ass partners from his. Peter's gone back to grad school, and so we've introduced him to this bunch of new characters who again are a bunch of duds and bores, and no one gives a crap about them.
Hey, not only you don't give a crap about them, JR.
No, I'm sure nobody else does either.
Okay.
Can you remember? Do you know any of their names? Do you know any of their personalities?
The guy's name is Jaime.
Jaime.
So that's a Jewish guy, right?
No, that's what he says when he goes home to his aunt. Hi, May.
So anyway, he's with this particular guy, Jamie, who is playing with this giant tiddlywink. Okay, and apparently this giant tiddlywink. Yeah, this little giant tiddlywink or whatever can see into the multiverse and see all the possible outcomes of every situation. Kind of like we already saw Doctor Strange do in Infinity War Part 1. We've already seen that crap. So anyway, so Jamie wants Peter to help him with the big tiddlywink, which is called clairvoyant, by the way. Mm-hmm. So Peter puts it in his backpack. And then all of a sudden, someone comes in and screams, "We all got to leave because something catastrophic is happening." Well, right now, because ripped from the headlines or whatever, Latveria and
Symkaria.
Yeah, wherever Silver Sable's from.
Your favorite foreign country in Spider-Man.
Yeah, where Silver Sable, she was dead. Then she came back. The Rhino drowned her. Then he didn't drown her, and then she got burned up, and now she's kind of laying prostate or whatever. And she she has her own LMD or whatever, so people really don't know that she's incapacitated. Meanwhile, the evil Countess Karkov, who is the former ruler of Latveria, who got kicked out, or not Latveria, but Symkaria, who was also the ex-squeeze of Norman Osborn at one time. It's all complicated. But anyway, so Latveria and Symkaria or whatever are at odds, yelling at each other, saying horrible things to each other, threatening each other, and they're going to the United Nations, of course, that particularly effective international body.
Oh, yeah. So effective.
So anyway, so Dr. Doom is there, and, Countess Karkov and the Chameleon have hired the hitman to assassinate Dr. Doom and send, what they want to do is what Countess Karkov wants to do is, create a war between Latveria and Symkaria, and that the people of Symkaria are going to turn back to her in times of need, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so everybody thinks, Doom gets shot. The hitman shoots Doom, and everybody thinks Doom is dead. And
except JR.
except every person who's reading this comic.
Except Spider-Man, Spider-Man has read this comic before. Okay, Spider-Man has seen this before, and he goes in there and he rips off the Doom's head because it's a Doom bot. Oh, but of course it's a Doom bot. But this Doom bot apparently is self-aware, so he sticks his head back on, and then he threatens vengeance. So at the same time as he's threatening vengeance, all of a sudden Spider-Man 2099 pops in. Okay, and the purple, green, drooling Hulks pop in, and what? No.
A special guest appearance by JR's wife.
Yeah, who's never been on the show in 10+ years. I'd love to see that. Comes in and grabs JR by the ear and goes, "Get off the internet."
If she actually ever listened to the show, he might actually,
Yeah, he might not.
I would be sleeping out.
SoFlo says, we're taking a break. SoFlo says JR puts things in their proper disrespect.
So Miguel pops in with the green, the green drooling purple Hulks, and he basically says a whole bunch of nonsense. I mean, because really the whole idea of this whole thing is not to really go anywhere. It's just to stand in place, and run like in a hamster wheel or whatever, because we got to have this thing go 12 parts and intersect through various issues. So Miguel just says, "Oh, hi, I'm back." And Spyro says, "Wait a minute, you weren't supposed to be back. The only reason if you came back, then the timeline would collapse." Oh my God! The timeline collapsing. And
Marty, Miguel, it's your kids.
and Miguel says, "Yeah, everything's in chaos." And but by the way, here's this thing here. There's all these multiverses out there, but actually, I'm from your future, Peter. Okay, I'm not from another universe or whatever. This really is, and I have no idea where this is going. So whatever. So he says that gobbledygook, boom, he disappears in a great big flashlight. Well, anyway, of course, Dr. Doom is, he sent all his Doom bots, and they're flying all over New York City, and they're going to create all kinds of havoc, and Dr. Doom wants revenge, and Spider-Man said, in the issue with an extremely ineffective joke. As far as international incidents go, this one ranks 6 out of 5 Maria Hills. Anyway, last
Okay.
What does he say? What's the last sentence?
I have no idea what's going to happen now. And we see a picture of the giant tiddlywink.
Okay.
So, and that is the end of issue number 835, boys and girls.
What's your grade, JR?
I give it a D.
Oof.
Jeez.
Ooh,
Zach.
a C minus.
Okay. Mike.
I'm giving it about a C as well. It's kind of
There,
I'll give it a C also. I'm not going to give it a minus. I'm going to save those for the next few issues. But the
Yeah.
art is amazing in this comic.
to a point.
Yeah.
There is
Mhm.
one particular panel that
What panel?
it's the panel where 2099 and Spidey meet up. The way Spidey's head looks does
Mhm.
not look like
Hmm.
it. Just the way the angle of the Spidey head is.
I thought the scene of all the Dooms flying in the sky was awesome looking.
Yeah, and I will say the way that Miguel kind of vaporizes, the way that kind of that effect, it looks kind of pretty. neat.
I love Gleason's 2099.
Me too.
If he was to draw the 2099 a 2099 book, he would be the best part of it. I don't dislike the artwork. There's just like, again, I talked about this last issue back in Vegas. There's parts of Gleason that I like, but there's certain things that Gleason does that it's just kind of like, it just kind of gives me a little pause.
Well, well, JR, let's hear your pros. What did you like? You gave it a what? D?
I gave it a D.
Yeah. What did you like? What saved it?
Nothing.
Nothing. You hated every bit of it, huh?
Yeah.
He
and why?
only look, Brad, after
He's
12 years.
he's offended. If he's personally offended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, personally offended if it's an F. If it basically
It's an F.
D is just
Right.
yeah,
right.
a D is like it's
So
just a bad
you have
story.
no pros, is what I'm gathering, JR.
No, I don't. It was a useless issue. Utterly
Did you
useless.
even like the art? I thought the art was great.
It's okay. It's not my favorite.
Yeah. Any other pros? Mike, you got some?
Well, I do kind of enjoy the fact that we actually are getting a Doctor Doom story, but I think it's pretty clear, and I'll probably say more about this when we get to the later issues.
Cons. Or-
Does anyone get the feeling that the 2099 stuff was kind of shoehorned in, and then Spencer really wanted to do the Doom story as opposed to the 2099 stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of think it was. I mean, it's just because it doesn't quite fit
Look,
together.
one of my all-time favorite issues of Amazing Spider-Man was Amazing 491, aka Volume
dude.
250,
Mhm.
Where they meet in the airport?
where MJ and Peter meet at the airport,
Yeah.
and you have Doom going through a metal detector.
yeah,
and,
right.
all the problems that you would have with Doom, as in general. And so I have a soft spot for Doom. I liked the Stan Lee issue with Doom.
Is that the one where Flash was in the costume?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah, I
was.
remember that one.
That was like
Uh,
the first time Doom basically faced Spider-Man too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Doom. Doom to me, like, I'm super excited about the new Marvel Legends that's coming out in January. Like the one that I'm really, really excited about is Doom.
Mhm.
So like I have a soft spot for Doom.
If you go to Disney Plus and you watch the 81 Spider-Man cartoon, Doom is a big villain
Oh, yeah.
in that
Yes,
in that
yes,
series.
Very much so.
And that's a series that I think just criminally underrated in terms of like people that watched it, because most people watched Amazing Friends but didn't watch the other one.
I didn't because it wasn't syndicated in St.
Right.
Louis. That's why I didn't see it.
So
Or at least I didn't know where it was syndicated.
right. So I think that like a good Doom story could be fun, and Doom has no tolerance for Spider-Man.
Oh,
Should
no.
have no tolerance for Spider-Man because Peter's going to sit there and he's going to make jokes about how he goes to the bathroom.
right.
Okay, like that's the type of thing that Peter's going to. So I could see like this insignificant flea to Doom being a really good foil.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the Symkaria subplot. I haven't cared about this for the last 2 issues, and now we're going through it again.
Well, that's why I'm saying this is probably Spencer's story, because this is something the thing he's building up. I'm just saying that he has, but because for the sake of whatever the Marvel politics, Marvel,
and
corporate,
I feel
they have to
bad.
throw in the 2099 stuff.
I feel bad jumping over JR's cons. So let's go to JR's cons first before we start opening up. So JR, this is your issue. So what's your biggest cons out of it?
It's who cares? It's a boring story. It's a boring story. Honest to God, who gives a rat's ass about Symkaria? Who cares? I don't effing care. Why is an international incident between Symkaria and Latveria a subject for a Spider-Man comic book?
Well,
It's
it was part of the Assassins Nation's plot.
And it sucked in too.
This was one of those subplots that could have died with Slott. Like we didn't really need that particular subplot picked up upon. I'd have been fine. I mean, I like Silver Sable as a character, but I don't like international diplomatic relations Silver Sable.
Right. One of my favorite aspects of Spider-Man is the private life versus the superhero life. There's no private life of Spider-Man in this storyline. So very, very little Peter Parker at all, if any.
I mean, you have one scene with Peter Parker, and that's it.
Well, I guess the next issue deals with his sister, but that I don't care for his sister.
Yeah,
so.
but again, because if you think about it, though, I mean, kind of his private side. I mean, when Mary Jane kind of went off to do her own series, it's kind of like that's kind of like faded.
You could deal with Fred. You could deal with the Bugle. You could deal with Kurt Connors at the school. Randy, anybody.
Randy, Oh yeah.
So JR, biggest cons, you don't care about Silver Sables, politics, you don't care about 2099, I don't think either.
I don't care about these loser people he's hanging out with now, with the giant tiddlywinks and stuff like that. I don't care,
Josh Nelson says, even though the story isn't terribly interesting, I think Spencer wrote it well enough.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's there's no
I'll say this.
Yeah.
This C minus, this would have been a D or an F if this had been Dan Slott.
Oh yeah,
because
of the dialogue would have been so much so far.
The dialogue would have been bad. It would have been, beating you over the head about how
the Fantastic Four and the Avengers would have been in this book.
Yeah. You would have had half the Marvel universe would have been in the book, and Peter Parker would have looked like a chump.
Yeah, that's true. So, any other final thoughts on this issue before we go on?
Nope.
Okay, so the next issue JR also has, since we're kind of short-staffed this month, JR is taking on 2. So we have Amazing Spider-Man number 35, Legacy is 836. You've got Spider-Man fighting a whole bunch of
Douglas.
Doom
All you got to do is add 1 to whatever the big number is.
Well, I forgot what it was.
All you got to do is take the big number, add 1, because Slott couldn't leave. Yeah. Slott couldn't
for
leave at
701. Yeah, that's true. So JR, take me through this. We've got a new penciler, and Tony Daniel, who penciled Batman for years, penciled this cover. It looks like.
Yeah,
he does actually C-3PO.
No, that's Anthony
Daniels, but same name, different guys.
Anyway, Cyborg's still on the cover though. Go ahead, JR.
All right. Well, after the riveting conclusion of the last issue, we now see that the Doombots are terrorizing Manhattan. It's just I'm not really quite sure what Doom thinks he's accomplishing with this, because somebody tries to kill him, and so he somehow blocking all the exits out of Manhattan and shutting down the power grid and everything like that is going to going to accomplish something. I'm not sure what he thinks it's going to accomplish by terrorizing all these people who have absolutely nothing to do with the Hitman or anything like that. So
the Avengers do kind of show up in this, but they don't overtake the story. Like they're one panel, if you look. Yeah.
So anyway, so Doom is doing his usual pontificating or whatever, and Peter thinks that he figures that there's somebody who can help him, and of course that of all the contacts that Peter has made over the years, and of all the people that he's looked to provide solutions to problems, he finds the one person who's the best that's ever been at it, his sister Teresa. Who just flies in, Teresa says, I'm looking for the chameleon. I hate the chameleon. I want to kill the chameleon. The chameleon killed, my squeeze. So, I want to kill him. And, who we never saw before, and we've barely seen her before. So, and then of course the chameleon is talking with, Countess Karkov, and of course he's like saying, gee whiz, why did you have to burn down New York all around me or whatever? And basically she says, well, I never did give a rat's about you or whatever. In fact, I told somebody where you are, and they're going to come and kick your ass. And then at that time, boom, Spider-Man and Teresa come in. Teresa shoots the chameleon in the arm. And of course, then Spider-Man has to give one of his patented "we're better than that" speeches, like that. Yawn, 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 yawn.
Mike is yawning right now.
Yeah.
Yawn, yawn, yawn. The only person that wants the chameleon shot in the face is JR, because his second favorite character is the Punisher. Mm-hmm. So let the Doctor reflect, Counselor.
Well, this is good. Punisher is actually shooting the chameleon, so technically that kind of counts.
Yeah, but it's like it's well, I don't know. I sometimes I just get tired of Peter's. We're better than that. I mean, come on. I mean, and because he even tells Teresa that the chameleon built the robot parents. Mm-hmm. Of course.
Oh yeah, that was a callback.
Yeah, he conveniently admits the fact though that the chameleon was just a pawn of Harry Osborn. But I guess that's not a salient point, right now. So we'll just ignore it. So they find that the Hitman is dead. Well, he's not really dead, but apparently the Hitman was dead. If you read Spectacular Spider-Man #5 about, 30-something years ago, 30 years ago. But he got cloned by Zach's favorite.
Whoa,
Ben Reilly.
Whoa.
What?
That That's abortion true. Of a story does not exist. That was not Ben Reilly.
See it. He was Jackal.
He was the 27th.
It's Ben 27. Ben 27. Ben 27.
Not Ben 10. Ben 27.
Yeah, not the real Jackal.
But. So because he cloned him. I mean, again, another story that it's like we could have gone.
They could have never mentioned it again
without referring to that thing again. So, so they find him dead. But apparently, the Hitman.
That's two references of stories you don't like: the robot parents from the '90s, the clone conspiracy from last couple of years. I know what grade you're giving at this point. The book's not even half reviewed.
Well, and apparently the Hitman, he's the Hitman. He's just the ability to upload his consciousness to the cloud and download it to another body. How did he get this power? I have absolutely no idea. So anyway, so the chameleon, says a lot of smart ass things.
By the way, real quick, JR, the Hitman refers to clicks now. The Hitman hits at the website up in the cloud.
Jesus H.
Nothing.
Christ,
Nothing.
No.
Oh
my
YouTubers.
God. That is an awful dad joke.
Tell me you like that joke.
That was
YouTubers.
not a good joke.
Come on.
I think JR is just going to take
this
take his grade down a letter grade just for that.
I want to go
What's
jump off.
D for
jump
dad
off
joke?
a
At least
bridge.
he didn't say anything about liking the cover.
Here's the thing. I want to go jump off a bridge so I can be cloned by the 27th version of Ben Reilly to come back for this.
Yeah, that's what we need. Stack 27.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So
Go
anyway.
ahead, Jer.
So anyway, then all of a sudden, the giant tiddlywink in Spider-Man's backpack is starting to glow. And guess what? I mean, apparently Spidey 2099's booming, in and out of the 2019 created this energy surge, which now has the ability to power up the tiddlywink. Because as Spider-Man's boring-ass partner Jamie from the previous issue said, he said, "Oh, I just need a big power source so it can do all the quantum calculations, but I can't have too big of a power source because then that'll start tearing apart the multiverse." Anyway, it's like okay, whatever. And so anyways, the giant tiddlywink glows. Then Spider-Man kind of goes through he goes through this thing where he sees alternate realities, and the sharp-eyed folks will recognize the Spider-Man from
Spider-Man Reign.
Spider-Man Reign, okay, and the Spider-Man with the leather jacket,
600,
from, ASM
500.
500, yeah.
And references to the
A-Next.
Spider-Girl world and
NC2.
and Days of Future Past. So anyway, so then he sees Lila, the hologram, which when I remember Lila, she looked like Marilyn Monroe, but I guess she doesn't look like Marilyn Monroe anymore. I guess Miguel's taste have changed I
think the artist just is off. I think she's supposed to look like Marilyn Monroe.
She's supposed to look like supposed to look like Marilyn.
This artist is rough, man.
So anyway, she says, "Oh well, I'm here to help you interpret all these multiverse projections, so you can figure out the best solution to your problem. You've got a problem, right?" Spider-Man says, "Yeah, I got a problem." So anyway, then we go back to the
2019,
or I guess the real world, and the Chameleon. They're going to try to fool Doom because that always works. So the Chameleon turns himself into a Lemurian security guard who says, "Hey, Doc, look, the hitman's body. This guy tried to kill you, but he died trying to escape. So so everything's okay now. You can go away." And and Doom looks at him, and of course, Teresa and the Chameleon said, "This isn't going to work," and it doesn't work. Doom is not fooled. Doom is not fooled. Doom is not fooled.
He's not
He fools them. That's what he does.
He's not. And since Spider-Man had just seen a projection of the Sentinel frying Wolverine in Days of Future Past, Doom says, "I'll use that as my motif, and I'll fry Spider-Man and Teresa Parker right here." And boy, the issue concludes, and how are they? They're dead now. I mean, I guess that's the end. The
artwork is so bad. I thought Doom blasted the Chameleon and the Hitman. Evidently, that is Teresa and Peter Parker getting.
Yeah.
The artwork does not convey who those people are that are getting hit. So
no,
the artwork is woefully inconsistent. It's like the later we got in the issue, the worse the artwork got.
Well, when they got to get a fill-in artist for when you're halfway through a story arc, that's when certain things are bad. That's a sign of problems.
JR,
I gave it a D.
Oh, not an F. Okay, not personally offended.
No, I wasn't personally offended. There's only a handful of times I've been personally offended.
Right.
So,
Mike.
Yeah, I'm kind of. This would otherwise be a C if not for the art, so it's going to be probably about a D plus actually.
D plus.
Yeah, it's not great.
Okay, so I'm giving this a C minus, and I'll explain why that this gets a slightly higher grade than last issue.
Okay.
Are we doing pros? I was going to wait for Jay.
Set it up. Explain your point.
One, I think I actually like parts of the art better.
Than the previous issue?
Yes.
Not me, brother. Oof.
I said parts of the art, not all of the art. Chameleon is a magnificent bastard, and I love when Chameleon is a magnificent bastard. So I don't dislike Chameleon is one of those characters that I've always felt like doesn't get enough credit for what he is. I love the line where he's like, "Not bad, girl, but no one can hit like my brother." It's like, all right, cool. The MC, the referencing of the robot parents, as bad as that is, the fact that he has the cojones to reference that particular storyline, I gotta give Spencer some props to it.
Mhm.
However, like it's almost negated by the fact that he has to reference the worst clone story in the history of clone stories
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Clone Conspiracy,
Right.
which was morally offensive. But then we go to the the crossing of the streams, and I'm a so-
You're
I am
never
a
cross them.
and I have a soft spot for anything that references MC2. So like there's a lot of good and a lot of bad.
Mhm.
Like I say, the artwork was not as parts of it was not as good. And then of course Doom, like I love the part where Doom says, "You fools, you really believe you could trick Doom?" Like I just, the magnificent bastardness of Doom plus the
Mhm.
magnificent bastardness of the Chameleon, like that's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich I would eat.
We heard some pros out of Zach. JR, do you have pros for your degraded comic?
No.
Better than the last one? Or
No,
same?
not at all.
Same?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's your opinion on the art, JR? Better or worse than the last issue?
I didn't notice any difference.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did.
Wow, I did.
That's
too.
I mean, because I think part of it is correct me if I'm wrong, but does it look like that this guy that let me look up the artist's name. I don't think he did any much inking on this thing.
Bazildua.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
Oscar Bazaldia. Yeah,
Bazaldia.
I don't think he actually did any. He did very minimal inking. And sometimes when you don't have enough inking on the thing, it makes it gives kind of that really kind of like washed out kind
Like
of
I
like
like that opening page with Peter like swinging with the backpack, but that was
Mhm.
probably the best Spider-Man shot of the entire issue.
right. Yeah.
And Brad, you and I know how it is when it comes to bad Spider-Man eyes.
Yeah. We see that in Miles Morales every
We
month.
see it every month with Miles Morales, and we're kind of getting a little bit of that boxy, kind of not Spider-Man like eyes in this issue.
Yeah. JR, actually, Mike, do you have any pros? Because I'm going to go JR's cons. in a
I
minute.
actually, Zach, you did bring up the thing about the idea about the Spider-Man's where they were actually referencing the robot parrot story and how it led to that. Yeah, I know it led to the whole "I'm the spider is dead.
I am the spider.
No, Parker is dead. I'm the spider. That whole nonsense thing.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that it is kind of like they're trying. It is kind of a character moment. Like he is trying to tell Teresa, says, "Hey, I know exactly how you're going through. He manipulated me and everything like this, and I went to a dark place, and I don't recommend you going there." It would have worked better if we actually known, Teresa's boyfriend for like about more than a half a panel,
More than an issue. Yeah.
more than an issue.
Well,
But
we don't even know Teresa to care about her. I mean,
it's true. Yeah.
here's the thing. I mean, the idea of Peter Parker having a sister, it's like, well, it's like a lot of things. It could work in the execution. I mean, it's Spider-Man in a way is a big long soap opera. One of the common tropes of soap operas is long lost relative showing up. His parents were spies. We've already crossed that line. I mean, so his parents were spies. So the idea that he's got this super secret agent sister isn't. It's
not a bad concept. No.
It's not a cannon buster. But it's like, okay, but who is she? What is she? What purpose is she going to serve in the story? I mean,
they tried to flush her out in spec, but that just went off the rails.
But I mean, she's just going to fly in and out. I mean, why does she have to be in this particular story? I mean, it could be any flying wing girl, couldn't it?
Well, because again, Mary
Mockingbird.
Jane has got her own series. Aunt May doesn't know who Peter is, so we got to have somebody that in the know of Peter's family circle that has to know. But no one's saying Mockingbird, Brad. Come on.
Well, I mean, she knows his identity and she flies.
No. We already had Mockingbird. Remember,
Yeah,
we had to ask about her feminist agenda.
Who'd be another female hero that knows Spider-Man's? You could have Captain Marvel. Like
Captain Marvel.
He
Captain
dated
Marvel,
her.
Yeah, but then
Once.
she'd overpower the entire everything else in the
Well, I
book.
mean, if you go off of Endgame, like she would have like nuked Doom to like next week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, JR, your cons.
Well, again, this whole thing with the multiverse is just getting boring as hell. I mean, Sony just did. I mean, we're being multiversed out of our minds. I mean, we just we had the cartoon. Okay, we had another Spider-Verse. just concluded another Spider-Verse.
Yep.
And now we've got this where the multiverse, 2099 is in trouble. Or, hasn't 2099 self-destructed before?
Yeah.
I mean, it's and of course it all comes back to 2019. Miguel says, well, our scientists can't figure out what's going on or what's causing it, but it all comes back here. It's like,
Again?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get and the
Sounds
giant
like
tiddly,
it's a you've been down this road many times. It's
Exactly.
a long-term fan.
and the giant again, like I said, we just saw what the giant tiddlywink can do. We just saw that in the Avengers movies, really. With Doctor Strange going through the 14 million alternatives.
Whoa. Hold on. Full screen. What was that again?
What's that?
What did Doctor Strange do?
Oh, Doctor Strange. He said, "I have looked through 14 million." Oh no, okay. He went.
The internet.
I just saw 14
Somebody's
million.
gonna make that into a GIF.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a crook.
So,
I'm gonna tell you I'm not a crook.
So being, outside of again, I don't. The story's being drug out. Really, it's like nothing happened. When I was going through this, I was thinking, damn, it really went through quickly or whatever. What happened? So a lot of stuff we've seen before. There is nothing new in this story. And really, do we really care about the stakes? Because the ultimate stake is to get the 2099 line going again. That's the ultimate stake.
I guess so, yeah. I would have to say this is my least favorite Spencer arc. And I like Miguel O'Hara a lot, but I just think the artwork's off. The focus on Spider-Man's private life is off. I don't care. I'm really not caring about this book. Any other cons, JR?
No.
Zach, cons?
Look, this particular story it could have been done 2 issues ago. Maybe done.
We had to make it a mini event. We had to have Conan
We had to have
2099.
we had to have 4 issues of this.
Venom 2099. We had to have what else? I forget.
X-Men 2099. I think we're
half of that we're going to be covering.
Ghost Rider.
Half of that we're going to be covering
Ghost Rider
on
2099.
Spider Satellites.
Punisher
Patreon.
2099. Like they wanted to sell a whole event through this storyline, and the main story doesn't have that much content.
2099 Alpha
and Omega.
2099.
Because how do you want to guarantee that a
Event
story
stock.
is going to suck? You put an Alpha and an Omega in front of it, and have it be Spider-Man.
That's been
related.
sucking since the 90s. What was it?
Yeah, that's
what was the
that's
Spider
90s
clone
flashback.
thing?
Maximum clonage Alpha.
Maximum clonage, Alpha, and
Alpha
Omega.
and Mega.
Up until Clone Conspiracy came out, there was like a top 3 worst clone stories that we ever did. Right, one of those was Maximum Clonage Omega, the Nightmare on Scarlet, which was the Joe Wade Scarlet Spider.
Oof.
Okay.
And then you had Scarlet Spider Unlimited #1, which may have been the single most offensive issue of the entire Clone Saga. And then we covered all that in Clone Saga Chronicles. And then we have to cover Clone Conspiracy.
Man.
And that abortion of a story was patently offensive to any type of clone fan.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I just feel like, why does this story exist?
Yeah. All right, Mike, cons.
I think it's just mainly the overall art of this thing, which just really threw me off. That's one of my main gripes. The other thing is too is just like, I'm not really into this whole like, Chameleon, all this thing going back like, we got trying to be all complex. It's like, the Chameleon hired the Hitman. The Hitman used to be dead, and no, he was a clone, and we're just trying to do this whole plot of trying to take over this country, this fictitious country that nobody's ever heard of. And it just got to the point where it's just trying to be, it's definitely one of those trying to do like these international intrigue. It's almost like, again, it's like Spencer took like 2 different things. Like it's clear it seems like the Symkaria stuff and the 2099 stuff was supposed to be 2 separate things. And then he just kind of smushes them all together to see what kind of see what he can make out of it.
Doesn't make a good peanut butter cup.
Nope, does not.
And neither, and with that, I apologize to interrupt, but the international thing and the multiverse, neither one of them are really good stories for Spider-Man. These
No.
aren't Spider-Man stories.
No, not really.
Heroing wants to know, do you think Spencer did this arc just so he could write a Spider-Man 2099 book?
Oh, maybe. I mean, but it's clearly Marvel wants to try to bring back this line. I mean, it's just but I just, again, like I've said before on this podcast, I just think it's weird that with 80 years left to go, 2099 is not that really. I mean, we won't, probably some of us won't see it in our lifetimes, but it just seems like
I sure as
It's-
hell won't.
it's just so weird. It's just so weird to think that it's not that far off and everything like this. And they're trying to say,
I'll be over 100 years old. I will not be doing this podcast in 80 years.
No.
Okay, are
No,
we
yeah.
ready to move on to the next issue, Mike?
But that's
Yes,
a good
might as well.
But that's a good point. I mean, it's becoming less and less remote all the
Mhm.
time. So it's
Yeah.
I don't think
Right.
also the kids today picking up a comic book, 2099 doesn't have the same attachment. I
No.
think this book is relying on the people 20 years ago that bought the 2099
Exactly.
line.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a situation where, because I just kind of skimmed through Omega, 2099 Omega, and it's basically like redoing the origin story of Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Like,
again?
Like
Yeah.
again,
So it's
yeah.
like for the third time in a row, I guess.
I'm good.
where- so you get old Miguel and new Miguel or young
Oh,
Miguel.
no.
Oh,
And
man.
old Miguel is like you have to become a hero, and young Miguel's like I don't want to become a monster. And then and then at the end,
Man.
spoiler alert, he becomes Spider-Man 2099. So it's like,
Here's the
See-
question though: his half brother, Kron Stone, is he Venom or Scorpion?
I don't know.
DC Marvel fan guy says, I'm one of Spencer's biggest supporters on Spidey and Superior Foes, but this was by far his weakest story on the title.
Oh, yeah.
And I would agree 100% on that.
And we're not even done yet.
We're
No.
not.
Well, wait, there's more.
There's
Put up,
more.
Mike.
Okay.
ASM 837 again.
Yes,
Tony Daniel
otherwise-
art.
Yes. Otherwise, the cover is great. Sort of. It's not one of Tony
Eh.
Daniel's best.
No, it's not.
And again, we got the same artist as we did last time,
Right.
and like last time, we opened with Spider-Man and Teresa basically sizzling on the floor after being blasted by Doom, and
We
Spider-Man's
we
like,
discover who Doom
Spider-Man,
blasted. I had
extra-
no idea last issue.
yeah,
Spider-Man extra crispy.
yes,
Yeah.
and then
Original
Doom just kind of walks up to him, and Spider-Man basically makes like a little bit of a kind of make a little bit of wisecrack, and he goes, saying how you can always tell it's the real Doom because the smell gives it away, and then Doom's like doesn't just blast him, and then we find out that Nick Spencer has made me have recently watched Edge of Tomorrow, otherwise known as Die Repeat, whatever, that movie with Tom Cruise where it's basically like Groundhog Day except he gets killed over and over again during the war thing. Well, that's what we get here. For several pages, Spidey talks to Lyta, the hologram from 2099, because what they're looking through, it turns out they're looking through is various scenarios, like different possibilities that we could go. Spidey doesn't actually experience it; he just kind of views them. So it kind of removes a lot of the the weight and suspense out of it. So it's just like, oh, okay. So Spider-Man's like, all right, so we know that didn't work. Let's see what happened. Let's see what this happens, and they do this, and then they
Let's
do
do
that.
some
And
what ifs.
yeah, well, let's just throw a bunch of what ifs in there, and it's like, and a lot of it doesn't work out. There is a thing where Spider-Man actually makes another deal with Mephisto in one of these scenarios,
And it doesn't end well.
No,
Yeah.
it basically, I don't know if it's, I think it's both he and Doom get tied up, and they're
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because
yeah,
Doom
one
and
of those
Doom and
things.
Mephisto go back a ways.
They do.
Right? Oh
So
yeah,
that's
they
actually a
do.
good continuity point.
I think
There
Mephisto
is, yeah.
has his
Yeah.
mom, doesn't he?
But isn't this also referencing a Spider-Man Deadpool cover or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that too?
yep,
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
There's also another scenario where basically Doctor Doom basically takes over the United States again. It has everybody else kind of becomes Doom, and
Mhm.
it's just all these different scenarios, like every which way. But in every single one of these things, Spider-Man is defeated or killed or basically turned into so much bacon. It's basically every possible arrow they can think of. Says, okay, we've gone through all these things. Every single time he says, okay, is there anything that we can do? What is the probability of this thing? And he basically explains to Lyta what his potential plan is, and she says, oh, well, that one's like about maybe 86%, successful, or 80%, something like that. And Spidey's radical idea is to just tell Doctor Doom the truth. He basically just says, hey, Doom, this was all a setup. This was all a trap. They want you to do this because the cameras are on. They're watching this whole thing. They wanted you to, get angry enough so you can attack New York and wreak havoc on it, so that now there'll be an excuse to have war against you with Latveria. And they basically relied on your own and of course, Dr. Doom, being the egotistical, guy of pride, he does not take this particularly well. I mean, he's kind of like, oh, okay, so he does not like the fact that he was made to look like a chump. So after he basically swats Spider-Man away, he says, okay, fine. He and all of his Doombots decide we're going to go attack New York anyway, but they do it in a way where there's no casualties whatsoever. Oh, sure, they basically blow up parts of the different landmarks, cut the Statue of Liberty's arm off, and all this other stuff, but nobody is harmed. It's just a lot of collateral damage that everyone's going to have. That damage control is going to have, or the U.S. are going to have to spend billions of dollars worth of clean up, and he just kind of goes away. He says, "There's my warning shot. Fine, you can't, and he just takes off." And it's like, oh, we saved the day, I guess. So that's their thing. And I guess there's a thing, and I guess and we get to come. Oh, and meanwhile, we get to the other 29.9 part of this book, and where Miguel suddenly finds himself on an island in the middle. I guess it's some character.
Is this 2019? The island?
It's a 29. It's probably so because the
girlfriend, his baby's mama.
Yeah, his pink-haired girlfriend from the 29.9 from the Spider-Man 29 series.
Yeah, the most recent
on that
Peter
island.
David.
With his kid.
With his kid, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, and he's kind of happy because he remembers who.
You'd have read 29.9, the last volume, to understand who that is. And I bet you JR did not know who that was.
I completely forgot her name. So
yeah, I did too. But I knew Miguel had a kid with her.
Yeah. But yeah, so he kind of gets a happy ending. He doesn't go back to the future, but he kind of ends up being with her on this deserted island. Yeah. Meanwhile, we go back to whatever that back to Peter and Jaime and their whatever that doodad thing that they have, that little hologram thing.
What JR call it?
Whatever JR called the thing.
Giant tiddlywink.
Giant tiddlywink. And so Peter Parker kind of changed his mind and says, yeah, maybe we can kind of use this for a power source of some kind. And then we close out. We also get a scene where Silver Sable, I'm not sure if this was in one of the tie-in books, where Silver Sable's in the hospital. I think she's in a coma.
No, this was from like
No, this was an ASM.
This was an ASM? Okay, I must have skipped this issue. Okay, so she's in a coma, and I guess whatever the other evil Symkaria lady thing who's been trying to vie for Silver Sable's position, she kind of goes in there and kind of again explains what the plan was, that hey, we knew that Doom was going to basically get mad at us and everything like this, and stuff like that, start shooting stuff up and everything like this. We orchestrated this, and so now we have the excuse. And even though America's probably not, even though he kind of, America's not going to get involved with this, we still have. Basically, people have now questioned Silver Sable's leadership, basically saying, why in the world should we go for a mercenary for hire when they can go for somebody like this other lady and everything who seemed to be more dignified. So now we've got the thing for that she is now going to basically be in charge of Symkaria, and she's going to mobilize, people. Like, we've got this excuse now to basically,
why does she want him to go to? Why does she want him to go to war for the weapons profit?
I think so. I think it's it's some kind of thing where
she wants to take over the entire country.
Country.
She wants to be the reigning.
She wants Latveria and Symkaria.
She wants them both. Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So she kind of feels like because Latveria is like kind of supposed to be like an ancient enemy and everything like this, and so she figures and so this is now our excuse. It's basically now we have our excuse to basically take it over and everything like this, and we don't have to deal with Silver Sable, because you're going to be pretty much voted out as a leader of the country. Essentially,
she's been voted off the island.
You've been voted off. Yep. And then we finally get to another scene with Teresa Parker. I think she's goes to see the Chameleon, who's basically in a cell. And before she leaves, he says, "Oh, he mentioned some other thing about. Oh, did you hear about? Oh, you forgot. Oh, I forgot to tell you such and such about something. You might want to hear this. about. I think it has. If I look it up quickly, it might have to do something with her.
It says
it's
another
a-
interrogation
interrogation
session so
session.
soon.
Yep.
Delightful.
think
I
it
was getting so lonely in this cell, but then all about being alone, don't you,
The-
Teresa?
Yeah.
No, wait, don't leave. The
Yeah.
fun just getting
Yeah.
started, says the chameleon.
Started. Yeah. So he is kind of implying that he knows a lot more about her that that she realized basically. So it's kind of like maybe it's implying like, oh hey, I've known about your parents, I've known about you and all this other stuff and everything. So maybe like more intrigue about trying to continue that plot. So and that's where the comic ends.
Mike, grade.
It's slightly better than the other one. I'll give it a C minus, but it's not really. It's not something. I mean, this whole arc is like it's not the whole again the politics of the thing. I at least like the fact that they did try to incorporate the 2999 story into this and make it part of the plot, even if it was kind of like even though they did Groundhog Day.
This was so loose, though. I mean,
I know. Even though they did, it was. They tried to groundhog dated in order to figure because he figured that's the only way to get out of this.
So we got a C minus out of Mike. Is that what you said?
Yeah, pretty
Zach.
This is a C plus. I'll get into that in a minute.
Jr.
I'll give it another D.
much.
C minus out of me again. Yeah, not digging it.
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
pros.
Again, I appreciate the fact that Spencer was, at least compared to the last two issues, at least he's trying to tie in he gives a reason for there to be a 29.9 setup in this and tries to tie it into the major plot. But even if it, like I said, even though he did Groundhog Date it, with the whole, live, die, repeat scenarios, but a lot of and I guess you can say that Miguel has a nice, he has a nice ending. He gets back to his,
Do they address this in Omega, Zach? I haven't read Omega yet.
It's not hardly like basically Omega is like setting up a 2099 series.
Yeah.
Okay. So did this Miguel that we read in the previous Peter David era, is that his happy ending?
I guess so.
I don't.
Yeah, I think
it's a happy ending. I think that there's also going to be like a Miguel that is 2099. I think it's like basically completing the time loop.
Right. Yeah. And so
yeah.
So and then the other and I guess but yeah, and I guess that's pretty much my pros really. It's just like it's
JR, I don't think you have any pros. You haven't had any pros all of this episode.
No.
Zach, pros out of you?
I thought the tongue-in-cheek reference to One More Day
that was good.
was actually how Peter Parker should react to making a deal with the devil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
JR, did you like that reference to the devil? The devil deal?
Well, there have been a lot of oblique references to it for
for
a
years.
long time. So what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Either let's do something about it or let's stop referencing it.
I
agree.
But I still think that I think it's actually the last few references have been starting to set things up.
I still think a Mephisto storyline's coming up
in 20.
Yeah, it's got to at some point.
I liked how the best way to defeat Doom is through his own hubris. And that to me rings true with how this particular story arc goes. At first I didn't like the heel turn where he's decided to destroy shit just to destroy shit. But then it makes sense when he got his system hacked.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because that's exactly what happened. Basically, the Sumgaria people hacked the Doom bots into creating all this collateral damage for no reason.
And that's right. And then Doom did not want to admit that because that would hurt his pride.
Because Doom's ego wouldn't allow it, and that completely is in character for Dr. Doom.
Oh
Dr. Doom is the greatest of everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of Trumpian in that he's absolutely the best at everything he's ever done. But the bit with Teresa and the Chameleon being a magnificent bastard was kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
Chameleon being back at Ravencroft and being a grade A jackass is within Chameleon's MO. I like the fact that there's a bit of not even the Avengers could fix this, but Peter Parker eventually uses his own head and actually doesn't need the Avengers and somebody else to save him.
True.
Yeah, you know,
That's a pro.
that's a
True.
huge pro. I mean, if this had been the Slott era, the Avengers would have showed up and they would have stopped Doom. The fact that Peter Parker, even though he's got all this stuff going on, is the star of his own book in this particular issue, is a pro for me. You know,
Actually, Spider-Man's the focus on this. Peter Parker's life had nothing to do with it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Spider-Man. But
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, you know, a slice of life Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I just feel like that this arc,
Well, he kind of had it with his college buddy, or
but
We
it's
just
not
met,
like,
but-
it got
yeah.
set up really with the previous arc, and it's just
yeah.
it's to be
Mhm.
continued. So I'm like,
Right.
I'm ready to move on. Like we're getting into 2020. I feel
Yeah,
like we're
same.
kind of spinning our wheels right now, and that
Mhm.
to me is something that's kind of bothering me
Same.
about this run. So I'm hoping that when we get into 2020, starting with issue 37, we'll start getting back on track.
Mhm.
Because we want to see Kindred. We want to see Mary Jane.
I think,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say this,
We want to see Fred.
yeah.
Fred.
I think it's a profound mistake to continue the Mary Jane series.
Hmm.
I don't know about that.
No, because I really think after, like, to me,
Because it takes Mary Jane out of this book.
because it's going to take the focus of Mary Jane out of the book, and I think that
Mhm.
spinning her off into her own book and keeping her in her, and I know that Jai-Town Spidey is like throwing things at the screen right now,
Mhm.
but the fact of the matter is that, you know, we've had Mary Jane off doing this movie, which made sense having her own series for the, you know, for 5-6 issues. But now we're not going to have Mary Jane be a focus of ASM, which has been the best part of the Spencer run. So
Mhm.
to me, that's why I'm not a fan of continuing the Mary Jane series past issue 5. But like I say, we want more Kindred, we want more Fred, we want to, and it seems like by the time we get to March, we'll finally figure out what the hell Fred did to get the ire of the Kingpin. So
Oh yeah.
starting to, I feel like JR mentioned it, I think may have been last month, that issue 50 was probably going to be the kind of the culmination of much of the arcs that we've been establishing with Spencer. So there's some plot threads that need to be tied up, and it looks like in the next 6 months or so we're going to get to that point.
JR, your major cons?
Well, the first half of the story is ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
How many
Well,
times
I
can
mean, it's
Spider-Man die?
It's
I mean,
comics.
it's like, but I mean, you know, it's funny. I mean, because first of all, there's like a couple pages that shows summaries of all the scenarios going wrong, but then we still have to have more pages of scenarios going wrong.
Oh
So,
yeah. Mhm.
The you know, so half the issue is I mean, it's padded. It's like it's deliberately
Yeah.
padded, and it shows.
This
So-
is Spencer's worst decompression arc that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
This would have like everything prior to this would have been done in 2 issues. This is like almost as if they took like all the criticisms all the things I liked about the Minimum Carnage or the Absolute Carnage arc, about how they tied it into that overall story arc.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They were solid.
It was really solid, and it was the way to do it. And then immediately after we get this arc, which is supposed to tie into 2099, and it doesn't really fit at all.
Yeah.
Isn't
I mean,
isn't this the third major crossover big story for Spencer? Because we had
Mhm.
Hunted, which had multiple spin-offs.
Yeah.
You had
But he was
Carnage.
yeah, but he was the lead driver of Hunted, which
Yeah.
was profoundly different. I mean,
He's
Donny
the
Cates-
lead. Oh no, he's not the lead artist on Absolute Carnage. Okay.
yeah, Absolute Carnage.
No,
he's reacting to Donny Cates,
Yeah.
which
he
I
does
think him
that.
and Donny
Yeah.
Cates working together is not a bad thing,
No.
because I think they're the two strongest team.
Right.
Those guys are the two strongest writers on any line of Marvel right now.
Yeah, and those issues with the Maximum Carnage, Absolute Carnage issues with we got into the character of Norman Osborn was actually
Yeah.
pretty good character studies. This one is like more like what JR is saying. It's kind of like what happened in the clone, in that one part of the clone conspiracy where you saw Ben 27 was born, where he basically getting killed over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's the same joke here, but it's played more humorous. But it's like, yeah, we get it. We kind of get it's not like you're trying to do the whole live, die, repeat thing again.
And
It's
it felt like that they were padding this out because he had a 2099 story that he wanted to do.
Yep.
And Nick Lowe said, well, you need to make this into like an event.
Yeah.
And so we're going to tie this event into the rest. So it really was very uneven.
Mhm.
Yes. Look, I'm not okay. People are coming at me with the whole Mary Jane bit,
Yeah.
including Chi-Town.
including Chi-Town. I'm not saying that it wasn't a bad thing to do it. Okay. I'm saying it's not necessarily a good thing to extend the book
Right.
past
To an
issue
ongoing
6
series. Yeah.
and do an ongoing series if it's going to take Mary Jane out of Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah, and then the other thing, my other thing about the con thing about this, I mean, the whole thing with that thing with, we have to get like a villain explanation of like, like, oh, this is how our plan really went and stuff like this, and how we added all this. I mean, again, okay, yeah, it's like it fits with the character of Doom, that the fact that his pride was hurt and why he would not admit this thing. But again, it's like, I think it was going back to what JR said. Do we really care about Symkaria? Do we really care about if they take over Latveria and stuff? Because again, we're going back to this thing about, oh, Doom's country is going to be taken over by some other bad guy. He'll get it back. Like Doom really mad. Like we were like to me, that's like Thursday or something.
Is going to be addressed later this year in 2020.
Oh, the absolute carnage stuff. You mean?
No, the Doom and the Silver Sable
Oh,
storyline.
yeah.
Are they coming back to that in 2020?
I'm sure they're going to.
No,
set that up
I don't.
For a major event.
I don't think. I
They'll-
think
they-
that
they
there-
will.
there's
They'll
an-
tell-
There's
tell-
been an effective look. I think there's been an effective ending. Like for now, I don't see this. If it's going to come back, it's going to be like 8-9 months from now. I don't see this. I don't see this continuing like immediately. I think they're going to let this kind of fester and let this kind of go off. And I think the negative reaction that we've seen from these issues, because I know that there are certain people that are a part of Marvel that do follow the podcast.
Mhm.
To me is what I'm kind of looking at in the short term. We're going to address the stuff with Fred. We're going to address the stuff with Kingpin. And I'm going to sneakily suspect that we're going to get some more drops of Kindred too.
Well,
but I think issue 50, which would be 851, or they may even do it issue 49 and make it 8 and just go back to 850 and to hell with the legacy numbering.
Well,
and make it the 850th big extravaganza that we ending the Kindred arc.
Yeah, the thing about I think the thing that with regard to the whole Symkaria and Latveria thing, that smells like something like they're going to be trying to set up another maybe like a Fantastic Four Avengers kind of crossover kind of thing, like because it's evolving Doctor Doom and all that other stuff. I mean, it sounds like there's going to be something. Oh, this is the setup for some other kind of line wide kind of Avengers FF event or something that they'll throw in. I mean.
We'll see. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
they got that thing that they've announced that nobody was really excited for, including Brad Douglas when he posted the incoming. Whenever they posted the video.
That murder mystery or something. That's
It may be
know.
incoming, but I'm outgoing.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
yeah,
when
'cause
you
they're trying to say, like-
when you fail to get Brad Douglas to buy,
what information do we have about that story? It was redacted on the promo video that Marvel sent out.
Yeah.
I got no idea what the story's about.
why does Spider-Man have suddenly like
he's got
starry mask?
He's got that starry mask from the Black Mask or whatever that was in Marvel Comics 1000.
Yeah.
And that story and I like who writes
Al Ewing.
I like
Al
Al
Ewing.
Ewing, but that story didn't grab me.
The only thing I can think of is that they're trying to do with this thing, like Marvel's trying to do their own version of Identity Crisis.
Which why? Because that's
Yeah.
I
know.
Brad Meltzer's a great writer. Okay,
Mhm.
he's
Yeah.
a critically acclaimed writer,
Mm-hmm.
not comic book writer, but writer.
Yes.
But that story was
Oh, it was detrimental to DC big time. Yeah.
it hurt DC for years.
Years. Yep.
I mean,
Let's
They had-
let's go to the YouTube comments a little bit.
Mhm.
Let me scroll up because we've got a lot of them.
really,
Let's see.
I know. I ruffled the
Josh
feathers.
Nelson says Amazing Spider-Man 350 was a much better version of this story.
Yeah.
Of Doom.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Refresh me what happened in 350. It was Eric Larson art
Doctor
and
Doom again, and
Doom.
Doom basically kicking Spider-Man's ass. basically.
Yeah,
just-
I mean, basically, like I don't know if it was, I can't remember if it was Doom or a Doom bot, and like Peter's like almost to the edge of getting like dead, and all of a sudden Uncle Ben shows up,
Mhm.
which it looked like, because it was Eric Larson, it kind of looked almost like a Ditko version of Uncle Ben.
Mhm.
Josh Nelson also says, I thought the arc was okay, but probably Spencer's weakest outing so far.
Yep.
Get back to Kindred already.
Yeah, this felt
Right.
like that they were just padding to the end of the year.
Yeah. SoFlo says, I think Spencer would like to address one more day, but the editors won't allow it. I suspect.
I think that's a good
Honestly, no, I
assessment.
disagree. I think
Oh,
that part of this build up with Kindred is going to address one more day. It just, there's too many red herrings for it to not.
Mhm.
DC Marvel fan guy says it was just okay. First time I had that reaction in this run. We need more focus on Kindred, Boomerang, Jameson, Black Cat, Syndicate, and Peter's supporting cast. SoFlo gives it a B.
Mhm.
Bob Jones says C minus. The art was very rough. Josh also says ASM 350 was a much better version.
You already said that.
Nick
Yeah.
Spencer from DC Marvel fan guy says Nick Spencer said he had big plans for Betty and Ned's clone. Warned something was wrong with Betty before he died. What was
Oh
that?
yeah, that's another one. That's another.
But I
dangling
thought that
plot
was
there.
addressed in that crappy annual.
Whoa,
what
was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think-
yeah, it's a crime thing that he was.
yeah,
doing.
it was like
Oh yeah,
yeah. That was already
yeah.
addressed.
I remember JR like ragged on that because like
JR, do you remember that?
I had to
story?
go read
barely-
the stupid annual to get the answer.
Slot wrote it. I remember.
Yeah, like okay, if we're going to address clone conspiracy and the ramifications of bringing back all these quote unquote dead people, I'd rather Spencer handle it than Slot.
Mhm.
Vinkman, going into 2020, I'm seriously considering dropping ASM for good. While I'm enjoying reading every issue, I don't feel the need to ever read it again. It feels like I'm buying it for the sake of buying it.
Which is a shame if you kind of feel that way, because I mean,
Yeah.
it just because
We're-
you have this
we're-
one arc, just
okay,
because this one arc is
Yeah, this
not
one
that
arc-
great.
There's ebbs and flows. This is a flow. This is a. It's a
Don't-
down
yeah.
ebb.
I'll
Yeah.
say this. I mean, the fact that outside of JR, because JR's an old grumpy curmudgeon.
Mhm.
You know, everybody on the show has been enjoying, and even George enjoyed this storyline. I'm kind of sad George wasn't here to defend it.
Mhm.
He
I
had
bet
some-
you George's grades would be similar to what we're doing.
I don't know. Like,
No, he's
he
like
did-
he's been liking Spencer, Spencer's work on this thing.
and
for quite a-
we'll have to ask him next month when we have him.
Mhm.
But like I say, to me, Amazing Spider-Man. If a C minus is the worst
Mhm.
a grade I'm going to give, like considering what we've been through for the last 10 years, I just Vinkman, I just recommend to you to continue reading.
Right.
Vinkman says he'll stick around and keep watching the podcast, so he
Well-
doesn't have to buy it anymore. He's going to listen to us.
Right.
Joey
Yeah.
says about the Mephisto thing, they can just stop teasing it and just address it already.
Well,
Snowfall says,
that's-
I want to see
yeah.
Spider-Man redeemed from him today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
DC Marvel fan guy is looking better. 2020 is looking better for me already since we're getting Jameson Chance and answers to what Boomerang has that Fisk wants.
Mhm.
All things that intrigue me more than the past 2 months worth.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah. Again, because this is a lot of this stuff because we had Absolute Carnage, we had this 29.9 thing. So a lot of the thing what Spencer once was trying to do with the ASM has kind of been put on hold, and it clearly, and so now we can, and hopefully now that we guess, okay, as soon as we get all done with that stuff, it's like we'll just get back to the stuff.
I mean, look,
we
I'm-
actually cares about. Yeah.
I wouldn't have cared about like Chance
Mhm.
if Dan Slott was writing him. But
Right.
like, I'm kind of intrigued how they're going to bring in Chance of all freaking people.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Because it goes back into Spencer's wheelhouse because he likes to write these very kind of C-list villains and kind of make them and kind of give them a little bit more of a
he
kind of
likes to give him
important.
life. I mean,
Yeah.
Slott tried doing this with Cardiac,
Mhm.
and it was really kind of middling how he did it.
Well, it
the
was also
Superior
written in
Art.
the year. It was also written the year before for the Affordable Care Act supposedly passed too. So there was
Yeah,
that.
so there was the heavy-handedness, about
Yeah.
healthcare is going to
Let me keep,
Healthcare,
let me keep
yeah.
going. DC Marvel fan guy asks, do y'all think that Last Remain storyline teased for 2020 is related to Kindred? JR, we haven't heard anything out of you. Is that what you think?
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
It makes
Uh,
sense. Yeah.
Josh says, I never thought giving Mary Jane her own title was a good idea.
A miniseries would, I think, is fine. It
A
just
five or 6
yeah.
issue miniseries was not a problem. I know. I'm sorry, Chi-Town. I'm not like I don't mind her going off and doing her own thing and them doing a 5-issue miniseries and going from there. I just don't think that she can support a series once she's back in New York of stuff that we wouldn't be getting in ASM. I'd rather have a look. I don't dislike the person writing Amazing Mary Jane, but I'd much rather it be an Amazing freaking Spider-Man because that was what drew me with the Spencer run. Was
Joey
the way Mary Jane was portrayed.
says, no more Doom, please. Chi-Town says, this was a low grade for me also. Josh says, Hunted was awesome. This was rather bland.
Yeah, I will
DC
agree.
Marvel
I will agree
fan
on
guy, can we get back to the Janice dating Randy subplot? I want to see
yeah.
Robbie
Yeah, I
and
mean,
Tombstone's reaction. So do we.
Yeah, that's a great potential for a series right there.
Oh my God.
Chi-Town
story right there.
says, hey, Amazing Mary Jane going for 10 issues. I'm cool with that as long as she's in Amazing Spider-Man. Josh says, this is
you're
a lot
such
of
a
potential.
masochist. You're like me and clones right now, Chi-Town. Like, let me give you a piece of advice from a guy that suffered through 50 issues of like that maybe had like 8 issues of good clone books. sometimes the things you think you want aren't necessarily the things you want.
Josh agrees that with DC Fanboy, this has a lot of potential. I really don't like how Robbie's history with Tombstone is never really brought up anymore.
Which
Agreed.
it should be. I mean, especially with that's what the opportunity with the Randy and Janice Lincoln storyline should be. Is. Which
Chi-Town
we
says
got so excited when it happened. Yeah,
850 should be the proposal, is what Chi-Town says. DC Fanboy wants to know how many issues can you all see Nick Spencer on for the title?
Well, these days with creators, usually the average in length of creator. I mean, Dan Slott was kind of an anathema these days because normally creators do not go for 10 issues unless
I don't know.
Right.
You've seen guys like Aaron and Bendis go for multi-year runs.
Right.
To me,
True.
I would say 75 issues would be kind of a sweet spot for Spencer.
Yeah,
Joey says Marvel's dangling a carrot in front of us with the One More Day reference.
they are. That is true.
But
They
I
are.
think that Marvel is far more receptive to addressing it now that Sapolsky is really in charge. Now
Right.
that I mean, basically,
12 years has gone by. Folks,
well,
too.
Quesada got kicked up the office chain, and like Quesada really doesn't have much of a function now.
Josh says one forgettable arc doesn't negate all the good Spencer's done on this title. Very
That
Agreed.
is very true.
Very agreed.
much agreed.
All right, so let's do final thoughts and wrap this up. The last podcast recording for 2019, the last of the decade.
Whew.
Mike, final thoughts.
Well, final thoughts. Since I was kind of busy doing some other, stuff and everything, going back to my regular scheduled reviews on the other site, what I do for Viral Hair and everything like this. So, hopefully, we will get that back. Hopefully, folks will, if they missed some of my Amazing Spider-Man reviews, well, for the time being, don't worry, they are coming back.
Mike
along
had
with
a
some other
great
comic-
Last Jedi review that I agreed with almost 100%.
Yeah, or you mean Rise of Skywalker, or
Rise of Skywalker, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's other ones because I was doing a whole Star Wars thing and stuff like this, which took a lot of my time because I was trying to do a lot of back research for it and everything like this and stuff like that. So going down the rabbit hole like that took away my comic book reading time. So,
No doubt.
but yeah, it was if you want to check that out, you can go right ahead. Advanced
Zach, final thoughts, sir.
2019 has been pretty good. I will say this. I'll give a tease for the Spidey Dude Radio Network, kind of like what Mike just did. We will be wrapping up officially Clone Saga Chronicles. We'll have a big major interview that I think a lot of people that are fans of the book, fans of the Clone Saga, the guys that brought it to you. I've been actively working on that. It will also end up, unfortunately, being a Tom Lyle tribute episode, probably because of the fact that we lost Tom Lyle earlier this year.
I don't know if I mentioned this in the podcast. I was instant messaging Tom Lyle to do a podcast and maybe get a commission from him when he went to Arkansas a couple years ago. It just never came about. I didn't make that con and get a commission from him. Time gets the best of us.
Absolutely. And so, my hope is that we finish up, and I've got ideas for our next show. And I hope in 2020 I can announce it here on the Crawl Space.
Yeah.
It's been a good year, and I'm looking forward to another great year of the Crawl Space. This is the second time we've been able to end a decade together on the show.
2009.
Mhm.
Well,
Um,
the podcast.
on the
1990
podcast.
What is this? The third decade if you count 1999. We
Yep.
partied like it was 1999.
That was
Yeah.
actually one of the few years that I was not part of the site.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, that's when it
obviously.
started. Yeah. Yeah.
Like outside of you, Douglas, I'm the longest tenured
I
member
know
of the
you
site.
are. I know.
Right.
But it's been a wild decade.
Yeah.
I never
Mhm.
thought we'd be doing this on the YouTubes.
No.
So
Oh yeah.
It's
now-
something we started with a new decade, haven't we?
Yeah. This is that's when we started the YouTube stuff during this decade too.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
And with your
I'm
two
always-
different vid
and I'm always
things, we knew that.
appreciative of every single waning moment we have with JR because we know that time is precious.
Will he be with us in 2099? 2029. There you
It's
go.
okay. We'll just replace him with Spencer.
Yeah. Well, we-
Final thought. Oh, go ahead, Mike. What are you saying?
Oh no. Go ahead. JR.
JR, final thoughts. Uh-oh.
Well, you know,
Winding up.
Huh?
You're winding up. You
Yeah.
sucked in a lot of air because
Well,
you got
one,
ready.
one, actually, it's not really the end of the decade. The decade, I think, actually began in
2020.
2011 and lasted 2020. But yeah, I see. You know, it's like
True.
we all think
Semantics,
of, we think of it as
JR.
the 10s, and the 20s and 30s or whatever. Venkman was talking about quitting the title, and the thing is, though, I can see why, because the whole momentum keeps getting disrupted, and
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
again, but we've talked about this before. I mean, we've talked about to death. It just this is what's killing comics for a lot of people is
Yeah.
The cash grab.
but there's no, I guess I don't see it. It's certainly not stopping.
No. Well, I mean, the readership is smaller.
Oh, very much so.
The comics
Yeah.
are expensive.
Mhm.
Long-term fans
We're not-
like myself are not going to pick up their big crossover like I would usually in the past.
Again, when I make the statement that if you've lost Brad Douglas, who
Yeah.
used to pick up everything Marvel, damn near
Uh-huh.
every Marvel comic, Brad
Right.
Douglas used to pick up at one point or another. The fact that you're beginning to lose the very same
Yeah.
audience that you've had such contempt for years.
Oh yeah.
To me, the day of reckoning is starting to come. The fact that look, the beginning of last decade, of this past decade, when we were in 2009, we were deep in the throes of the beginning of the Slott era,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
fact that we've spent most of this past decade with Dan Slott,
Yeah.
doing everything he can to a character assassinate Spider-Man. The fact that we are now in a time of hopefulness is something that we should look forward to. I'm far
Yeah.
more looking forward to 2020 than I was
Mhm.
2018.
I would
Yeah.
be happy. Well, not with arcs like this, but another 5 years, maybe a Spencer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. Another 2025, he goes off with ASM 900, maybe.
Yeah, and I would look. I'm one of those that I hope he doesn't get Tom King'd. Like what happened with DC, where he basically had to cut his arc short because
Thank goodness his run on Batman, the main title, is over now. But now we got to deal with
but he had a
Catwoman
100 issue
series.
story. I kind of wanted to see how that 100 issues was going to go.
Yeah, but
and I just hope that we
yeah.
don't get a situation with Spencer where
Mhm.
it gets cut short for no reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's a wrap. Everybody,
Merry
have a
Christmas
great,
and Happy New
Merry
Year.
Christmas, happy
holidays.
New Year,
Mhm.
on to
No doubt.
2020. Get your hindsight ready.
All right.
All right, let me hit stop and broadcast. Gentlemen,
That was
it's
good.
been fun.